As a coach for the past 8 years, today I'm going to share with you why is it so hard for you to stick to your fitness plan. Now before I get into it, welcome to the channel. Make sure to subscribe, like, and stay tuned to hear me break down what holds most people back when it comes to seeing results in the gym, as I'm going to give you the solutions to those problems. Let's get it. One of the biggest things that we struggle with is our lifestyle, right? And just having the time to actually make the commitment to go to the gym with family, kids, school, and all these things that come into play within your day-to-day life. Sometimes you find it a little bit difficult to actually make time to actually go to the gym consistently. Now, before we move on to the solution, let's be a little bit honest here. 50% of the time, we do have the time. And 50% of the time, we don't have the time. Meaning, within the things that happen in day-to-day, yes, there's times I get it when things get busy and you know, like, I really can't make it to the gym today. But there's also that day where you know you can, but you negotiate with yourself and then you say, I'll go next week. And that usually ends up relapsing. So the biggest thing is, before going to the solution, I just want to make it clear that when it comes to making this work, you have to be a little bit more involved into it. The biggest thing that people struggle with is not aligning themselves with an actual plan for themselves. And that's what I'm going to explain to you, is how you can utilize prioritization and just having a plan to set you up for success within your journey. Let's go. Here's what you can do. One, I want you to go get a Google Calendar that you can physically look in front of you. So therefore, you can add days that you can actually go to the gym. Because here's the thing, we get our work schedule ahead. And if you have kids, you know what most of the events are within the week. Talk to them, communicate if you don't. And from there on, what I want you to do is to utilize these schedules, put them side by side and say, okay, cool, where do I have enough room to actually make a commitment to the gym? It could be twice a week, it could be 3 times a week, but that's good enough to actually get you started and get the ball rolling. It's better than just staying in one spot and letting that one spot command you for the rest of your life, when you can take action by just being a little bit more intentional. And I promise you, if you do this, it will change the game for you. And before you even knock it and be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that, give it a try. Wrong weights. You never know where it might lead. Because at the end of the day, to get to your goals, you have to do something you've never done before. And this might be the thing that makes the biggest difference maker for you, so therefore you can actually attain your goal. Now, let's move on to the next. Now let's move on to the big boy, motivation and consistency. Woo! We know how tough this one can get, right? Yeah, let's go. The thing with motivation is that when we get it, it's amazing, but it can't last long. And that's why a lot of people struggle to stay consistent. It's because motivation is not something that you can depend on. I'm just being 100% honest with you. Now, before you're like, oh, screw this video, let's really deep dive into what motivation is, right? Motivation is when you get that drive and you're like, oh my God, I need to lose this weight immediately because you just saw an ad or you stressed out, you looked into the mirror, you weren't happy with what you're looking at, you're like, okay, it's time to do this shit right now. And that leads you to making a decision saying, you know what, it's time to start this fitness plan. But after 1 week, 2 weeks, it dies down and now it's harder and harder to stay consistent. And by 2 more weeks, you're like, yeah, I don't even want to do this shit anymore. So that's why you can't depend on it, because it's not something that is going to push you past that 3rd week, which I like to call dreaded week, to where it's where most people fall off when it comes to your journey. And if you can push through dreaded week, most of the time you're more likely to be successful. And this all comes down to, again, actually having a schedule to where you can go consistently twice a week and not aiming for perfection, but just aiming to just make progress, right? And actually pushing yourself while you're in there. And if you do that, apply it, and you really integrate it within your routine, then over time, it's easy to have motivation because you have consistency behind it. And what will happen is, yes, by week 3, sometimes you may not feel like you want to go, but if you push through those hurdles, I promise you, it will make the biggest difference in your journey. Because those hurdles, where you're at, your ability to push past that is basically challenging to see how hard you want this. And I'm sorry to say, but it's true. Think about it. If you only give it 3 weeks, what makes you think you're gonna give it a year? You gotta give it 3 weeks before you can say, I'm gonna go for a year. You gotta give it 6 weeks before you can say, I can go for 6 months. So set small goals. Hey, I'm gonna push through these next 4 weeks. I promise you, you will be more motivated because you're gonna start seeing results. That's what most people are missing. It's just a bit of results to keep them pushing. But here's the thing about results. You actually don't want to be emotionally attached to them. Why? Because if you're emotionally attached to the scale, it's gonna ruin you. It's gonna ruin you. When it comes to results, it's not about being emotionally attached to the result, but just the process of doing it, so therefore you can get the result. All I do is I say I have to focus on the little things to actually get there. So eating right, make sure I'm showing up to the gym, doing my cardio, make sure I'm staying consistent to these things on a daily basis. So what you can basically do is, hey, set that schedule up. Start small, 3 times a week. Same thing with nutrition, start small. Focus on only eating protein. Most of you don't even eat 100 grams of protein in a day. And that's something that can bring you results if you start small to help you start building some consistency. Most importantly, to keep your motivation going behind the process and the results you're seeing. Oh, and last but not least, this one. You guys don't eat right, man. You work out, but you don't eat right. You find yourself in the ass over and over again. Like, I promise you, if you just change that, it will change everything about your journey. Here's the thing. I'm not saying when it comes to eating right, oh, you have to be perfect on the money, on the dot. Bro, if your goal is not to be a lean, cut, mean bodybuilder, and this is why I tell you guys do not compare. If your goal is not to be shredded all year round, you just want to be healthy and strong, you can attain that. And it doesn't need to be perfect. It literally could be eating eggs for breakfast. For lunch, maybe you had a slice of pizza. For dinner, you had salmon, brown rice, and some asparagus. And then for a late night snack, you got a protein cookie. That could be something that actually helps you attain your goal of just being toned, stronger in the gym because A, you're adhering to your protein, and let's say you have 1 protein shake at the end of your lunch, and that's even better. Now you're at over 120 grams of protein. You're working out in the gym, changes your body composition, but you're not changing everything that you eat. You're still eating 80% healthy, and 20% of the time, you're just enjoying yourself, which is okay. So the biggest thing with nutrition is don't aim for perfection, man. Last but not least, use your weekends wisely. And just focus on these little things, protein, having some veggies in there, bro. It has everything to do with the little things that you do on a daily basis, which is instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs. Instead of Ubering to a job that's 5 minutes away, you walk. These little things can make the biggest differences. So instead of eating cereal for breakfast, you have an egg omelet with cheese and a little bit of vegetables. Instead of eating McDonald's for, let's say, lunch, you have Chipotle. And you say, hey, can I get a little bit more chicken? Double protein. So therefore now your protein intake's high for the day. And same for dinner, you know? Instead of just ordering takeout, stay home, cook something at home. And it's those small things that will change the game for you. But again, to adapt to those small things, you have to gradually introduce them into your life. And that's why I tell people with this game, it's all about implementing into your lifestyle. And I promise you, it's not as hard as you think. It really isn't. You know, if you apply this and you take things small and you learn as you grow as you go, you're gonna put yourself in a position to where in a year from now, you're gonna know what to do, know what to eat. Most importantly, you're gonna feel amazing because you stuck to your goal. You kept pushing. You didn't give up when it got hard because you realize that even when it gets hard, it's not even about being perfect. I just gotta push through this fucking week and I'll get back on track next week. Bang! And then you keep that motherfucker going. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you ever want some professional help when it comes to your journey, make sure to comment help down below, send me a message, and I can create a custom plan just for you, so therefore you can have the right plan going to the gym, have the right plan with your nutrition, so therefore you can attain your goal faster. But with that being said, have the best day ever, stay beautiful, stay blessed, and I'll catch you next time. Peace!